violence or no other kind of violence.
Guess what? I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. But I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, YouTube? It's a Black Gen Z mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe. Let's get into the video.
Stuck in the Ukraine are calling for government assistance. They say they fear for their lives. Some people have been moved to safe shelters as Russia continues to attack Ukraine. It's reported that over 190 Ukrainians have been killed.
I'm pleading. So, President Ramaphosa, wherever you are, or DACO, or Minister of Foreign International, we need your help now to get people.
She don't look African, but anyways, I want to do this story. It's not going to involve American crime, but it is going to show just how things are operating overseas, in Europe, because we continue to have this discussion about race in America, race relations in America, and I'm just going to put it like this. This country gives the most opportunity for all races, and in the event of a crisis, God forbid, but in the event of a crisis, that is when you see how these governments and entities will really handle those individuals. So anyways, we've got this hashtag going viral, Africans in Ukraine, and it shows a testament to how these European countries are dealing with Africans. And obviously this is a white South African woman, but the majority of people who are being prevented from exiting the Ukraine are darker skinned Africans, all right?
Planes at the borders to get our citizens out. We are making our way towards the borders. I can account for, from Dnipro, 5 citizens. There are 2 that I cannot account for. This is serious stuff, and please, I'm asking you from the bottom of my heart to help us come home. I'm terrified for my people, but I'm okay, and I'm trying to get us home. So I don't know what to tell you. Yesterday was intense. We barely made the train. I had to pull a fellow South African onto the train. So, it's a die.
And I think they interviewed this woman for a specific reason. Maybe to cash in on her white tears. Maybe if she's the one who's the face of this movement, it'll move faster. That's the only reason why, because when you see the actual people on the street, they don't look like her, okay? So I'm very interested in what is going down over there, and I want to keep my ear to the streets when it comes to this imminent possibility of world war.
Dire situation. We need to come home. The government, such as India, has done things on the ground. They've set up stations. Why can you guys not do the same for us? They've put free flights out from Romania and Hungary. Where are the government when we need them?
Annoying celebrities aside, one absolutely harrowing thing that I've been seeing happen online from this Ukraine situation is the treatment of Black people in Ukraine who are trying to leave Ukraine. This person tweeted about their experience at a train station in Kiev where the majority of Africans were left there because they weren't allowed to get on the train before any of the white people.
And I'm going to show you guys images of that so you can see for yourself. But this is a real thing. And I don't know if there are certain agreements between these countries Like the woman said in the previous post, Indians have, or India has set up an embassy where their people can seek refuge, but South Africa is kind of leaving their people hanging and whatnot. I don't know the political implications to why this is happening, but there are videos of Ukrainian soldiers denying access to Africans, and you can tell that they got orders, direct orders to do so. So I really want to give some perspective and show you guys that it could be a lot worse in the States. Okay? We are living in some of the most privileged times, and obviously I believe that's going to change very quickly. And we're going to really start to see tensions rise, not only in the States, but across the globe.
This girl tweeted about Nigerian students leaving Ukraine and not being allowed into Poland at the border. Obviously, all of this stuff is horrific, and it's quite disgusting that in the face of such tragedy, racism is still number one priority. So I have followed this girl, Corinne Sky, on Twitter for literally ages, and she's doing so much work at the moment to basically get money to African and Caribbean students who maybe need taxis. She's offered a list of like resources, ways to contact embassies, who you need to speak to. And so if you see anybody that is stuck, or you see any African or Caribbean students here on TikTok or elsewhere online who are struggling, please point them in this direction. The work she's doing is absolutely amazing. And I think everyone, particularly the diaspora, we should definitely rally around all of these people and give what we can and help with what we can, because this is absolutely devastating. And it is.
My thing is, look how quickly there is a call for help from the diaspora, or the so-called diaspora. But when we have young women, young men, teens, toddlers, babies getting shot by these super gremlins on demon time in the States, we have no outrage, no call for change. Black Lives Matter is nowhere to be found. So I think a lot of the unity that we speak about is a facade. And obviously there are people who, are trying to make a change, trying to make a difference. And the American issue necessarily does not affect them, especially black people who are overseas and whatnot. Okay. But this is something that I noticed. All right. On the national stage, we're joining arms and joining hands to try and help these Africans escape the Ukraine. But some of y'all won't even help dudes in your background or in your backyard, families in your backyard, escape from the hood.
Just depressing to see the way that there are people, black people in Ukraine, who are not only facing persecution from the Russians, but also dealing with racism from their fellow Ukrainians. So
good evening, everyone. It is not quite time for the late night update just yet, but I wanted to make a separate video to dedicate to this cause. By now, I'm sure that many of you have heard about the Africans, most of them who are international students, that are stuck in Ukraine. Many of them have tried to escape to neighboring countries such as Poland, Hungary, Romania, and Moldova. Unfortunately, many of these students were refused services from trains, buses, and cars that could take them out of the country into neighboring nations. And for those who were able to cross the border, many of them were forced to turn back as they were only taking Ukrainian citizens. Luckily,
and notice how I can almost guarantee that this story isn't gonna pick up national traction, because it doesn't fit the narrative. It's not American racism. It's European racism, okay? And some people say, oh, well, that's the same thing. The Europeans colonized. Okay, cool. You can say what you want. I'm just saying it doesn't fit the narrative, but I'm going to show you footage from on the ground of this actually happening, okay?
Luckily, a group of African students who were able to cross over into Poland successfully have been able to come up with a guide of resources for any Africans or African students who are still stuck in Ukraine. You can find resources with the people mentioned in this tweet. Coco seems to have the master list of resources, so I would start with her page first. In this thread, you'll find several group chats, the numbers of African ambassadors to European countries, and funds for people who are trying to travel or stay in hostels. If you watched my morning update, there is a curfew that has been enacted in Kyiv, and anyone who is seen out on the streets is regarded as a Russian saboteur. So, as you can imagine, this is a very dangerous situation if you are African and you so happen to be in the capital city. So, to my African brothers and sisters, I advise you all to stay together and get connected to any resources that you can in those threads.
By 6 o'clock, if I can remember, I woke up to the sound of like an explosion.
Nigerian doctor Akintola Onidamilola is trying to flee Ukraine's capital, Kyiv.
So this is what the road is like. It's kind of empty.
Like thousands of other Africans who went to Ukraine for their studies, she's now stranded amid a Russian military invasion.
All of us are just trying to do what we can to get out of here.
Cities under siege across Ukraine are home to tens of thousands of African students studying.
And my thing is, I just don't get it. You've pretty much had warning that Russia was going to make a move for weeks, if not months now. But why did y'all stay? Why did it take you guys so long to say, hey, okay, this is the breaking point? I mean, are we on CPT even overseas? Like, what's going on, man?
Studying medicine, engineering, and military affairs. What was seen as a cheaper alternative to Western Europe and the United States has now become a war zone. Russian tanks, planes, and ships on Thursday launched the biggest European invasion of another nation since World War II. This is Dnipro in Ukraine's east, home to Ghanaian medical student Nana Efa Hockman.
For now, I don't know. The only option we have is just to go to Poland border, but it's not really safe because going to Poland border, literally, we need to pass through some of these cities before we can reach the western side of the country.
Morocco, Nigeria, and Egypt are among the top 10 countries worldwide with foreign students in Ukraine, together supplying 16,000 students according to the Education Ministry. But with flights grounded, African governments thousands of miles away are struggling to support their citizens. Ghanaian engineering student Percy Ohini Yaboa, speaking from the eastern city Kharkiv, says it's only now that the reality is hitting.
So you heard him, only now that the reality is hitting. This is what I gotta say. We need to see the signs. We need to use common sense, and we need to get our heads out of our arses and really understand that things can get real fast. And I think as a community, a national community, not just Americans, I don't even know how to say it, but we think that we're above certain things. That's all I'll say. Okay, like we think it ain't gonna happen to us. Like just because it happened to them, it ain't gonna happen to us. And I'm here to tell you that's not the case at all.
Afraid of taking the road west and without flights or money, he's staying put.
I think it's, for me, I think it's a bit too late for evacuation and all those things. Honestly, that's how I feel.
The students Reuters spoke to said they have not yet received help from home.
I'm here on the corner of MLK and Frederick Douglass, where a shooting just took place. And as you can see, it's a pretty rough area. So I'm basically risking my life reporting on this madness. So make sure you do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. Like the video, hell, share the video. And make sure you go ahead and leave a comment down in the comments section to continue the discussion on how we can find solutions to all this son violence in the streets. I'm Janquavius Jackson, here live, reporting from Atlanta, Georgia, BGZM News 17.
Why? Jack, why?
What kind of lesson?
All right, so this is what's going on in the streets. You have a Ukrainian soldier who is forcing a sister to get off of the train. So guys, it doesn't matter. Even though they said all men between 18 to 60 have to stay and fight and whatnot. But as a black person in that country, women and children are not a priority in these European countries, okay? They're just not. Okay? So, when you see that, you kind of got to appreciate what we got going on in the States, man. You really do. Because honestly, I don't think they could pull that off here at all. Even if it got as bad as it is getting in the Ukraine.
Hey guys, right now I'm just back home. So I'm updating with the situation in Ukraine. My name is Tolu Show, aka Chaos King. Here in Ukraine, at night, we have to switch off the lights of the whole building. And that's where I'm actually blogging from this place. So, and then if you don't have documents, you will be unable to pass through the border in order for you to reach Poland, where they can extract you to Nigeria. So please share this live. Tell the government, let them do what they should do. Let them save people. We here, we are trying our best to save our brothers, our sisters, our mothers, and our fathers here in this land. I myself am volunteering this.
And, you know, by the sound of this brother's voice, it sounds like he been going through it for real, man.
For people, just to show the love I have for people. So, if you're actually in the war zone, which is Kyiv and Kyiv, I advise you guys to move to the safe zone. You can come to Lviv or you can come to Ternopil. I'm actually breathing like this just because the elevators are shut down as well. So I had to climb the stairs just to come back home to give you this update. And those of you who are stranded, probably, maybe something just happened. You know what's gonna happen? Let's just see how we can actually help each other. See, nobody's paying you to do this. If you know you're stranded, because all banks are shut down, we can actually generate some cash for you. But you have to pay them back in Naira, just if you need cash.
I ain't gonna lie, it sounds like, is this a Nigerian scammer? Like he pulled out a wad of cash. Hopefully he's genuine. But when he pulled out that cash, I'm like, yo, is this dude a rapper or something? Like, is he trying to promote a mixtape? Like, you start counting through hundreds. This looked like some Nigerian scam shit.
See, nobody's paying you to do this. If you know you're stranded, because all banks are shut down, we can actually generate some cash for you. But you have to pay them back in Naira, just if you need cash. We can know how to get to you. We can know how to reach you guys. Keep sharing this video. Let them know. Let them do the necessary things, man. Seriously, it's getting hotter. Let them know.
So what the brother said in the last clip is he said, basically, if you don't have the proper documentation, you will not be able to get into Poland. So maybe it's a documentation thing. Maybe a lot of these brothers and sisters from the diaspora do not have the proper documentation. Who knows? But it looks wild to me. And this is a video of a whole bunch of Africans standing outside of the trains, waiting outside of the trains in 3 degrees Celsius weather, holding an infant, feeding the baby. I mean, it's going crazy over there.
These are the black community. They are not allowing any black people to enter inside the gates. We are all here. It's only Ukrainians that they are allowing in. Even the ones with kids, they're not allowing them in. They have been here for days and nobody's asking any questions. Only Ukrainian women and kids they are allowing into these gates. All the places blocked and all are full of black. From different communities, from different countries. Nobody's talking to us. These are the black community here.
And this is why I don't really jump on to trends like pray for Ukraine and all this stuff. Because a lot of people just ain't gonna have your back. All right. And we spend a lot of our time giving sympathy as a community to people who don't really care about us, aren't really worried about us. All right. And this happens everywhere, not just in foreign countries, but in the States as well. Okay. And that's the reality of the situation. That's the reality of the situation. And it's sad, but this is the type of thing that discourages, it discourages me in particular to give my sympathies to the Ukraine as a whole. All right. Because if I was in that situation, how would I be treated as an individual? All right. You never know. So I thought this video was important to show, especially on the ground activities and what's going on with Africans over there, people of color over there. It's not looking good.
We are not allowing any black people to enter inside the gates. We are all here. It's only Ukrainians that they are allowing in. Even the ones with kids, they're not allowing them. They have been here for days and nobody's asking any questions. Only Ukrainian women and kids they are allowing in through these gates. All the places blocked and all are full of black. From different communities, from different countries. Nobody's talking to us.
And one point that I do want to make is that has the propaganda or the realities of what the community has become spread across the whole world to the point that other countries are hesitant to accept these people because of the bad rap that, you know, the super gremlins on Demon Time have given the community as a whole. And the fact that we as a community don't come down hard on these super gremlins. So you can tell tensions are high. They, in fact, are not allowing the Africans to get on the train. And it's wild. And that's why I'm making this video, to spread awareness.
Please don't do this. Don't do this.
At this moment now, we are on the edge, like I said, of Ukraine, and we have to get ourselves to Poland, which is the other way across Ukraine of the border. We're not given any form of transportation. All the forms of transportation are available right now are prioritizing Ukrainian citizens, which means that leaves us at a position where we can't even get transportation for our.
And you know what? That actually makes sense to me. They're prioritizing Ukrainian citizens. As they should. If this were to happen in America, I would hope that we prioritize our citizens and not illegal immigrants or whatnot, because that's just not fair. So if you didn't apply for citizenship, if you don't have the proper paperwork, that may be the reason why you're getting denied, because they're prioritizing their citizens. Okay? It may or may not be because of your skin color. Now, that could be the case. Okay? That is a strong possibility. But also, the brother in the earlier video, the Nigerian scammer dude, he said that, hey, if you don't have, a lot of people don't have the proper documentation, they're not citizens, so they're being denied access to transportation out of the country into Poland. And that really does make sense. So this could be a paperwork, documentation, citizenship issue more than a skin color issue, okay? But I did want to bring awareness just to show you guys that this was a real thing. And, as a community, we got a lot more, we have a lot more things to deal with than being uptight about Joe Rogan saying the N-word, or, a Karen trying to make sure that you guys aren't doing a barbecue in a public park where you're not supposed to be on the grass.
I'm not saying that the embassy did not do enough. Of course, they're telling us things like when we get to Poland, we will have visa-free entry. But how am I supposed to even get to Poland? What does the visa entry mean to me if I cannot leave the city which I'm in right now? And that is our frustration. It is extremely cold. I can't even begin to imagine. This country gets to degrees of minus 25, even records of minus 30. So we're still within our winter period. We are outside. There's absolutely, we're within the basement. There's absolutely no heating systems here. It's minus 2 degrees. We have to put on all the blankets, all the jackets that we have on. And that we are also trying to escape. So there's only so much we can carry with us. At the same time, people are just really trying to gather and huddle in groups just so that we can at least be warmer, closer to one another. But it's really just it's extremely horrible. And about the lights and electricity, yes, we've had rumors that those could be cut off at any moment. We've also had rumors that our internet and telecommunication platforms could also be cut out at any moment. So from any moment from today, we literally could lose communication with our families as well, and the rest of South Africa. That's why we felt the need to reach out to anyone who could be able to help us while we still have this window of time to act now.
Yeah, this is the bus that is moving into. This is the bus that is moving into Ukrainian, Polish, from now Polish to Ukrainian. But the officer now, because the officer now is now telling us that Ukrainian border, they have closed it. That's the craziest part now. They're now saying that they have closed the Ukrainian borders. That's the problem. Is the Ukrainian borders, if they allow that, they have no problem. They have no problem to accept anyone. But the problem is from the Ukrainian border.
So these are African students letting these soldiers know, these Ukrainian soldiers, that they aren't armed. They're not a threat, and they're seeking refuge outside of the country.
We don't have arms. We are students. We are students. We don't have arms. We are students. We are students.
Man, and just to hear them plead out and cry out that they're not a threat, I mean, it's really a hectic situation over there. Really sad to watch, and all I can do is spread awareness and show you guys what's going on.
We are students. We are students. We are students. Take out your phones. Take out your phones. We are students. Pablo. We are students. We are students. We are dying. We are dying of cold. We are dying of cold. down. Everybody go down. We are dying of cold. We've been here for 3 days. We died of cold.
So you heard what they said. He said they've been there for 3 days. They're dying of cold. They're freezing their behinds off.
This is unfair. This is unfair. White point gun as foreigners. White point gun as gone. White point gun on us. You have to find a Russian. Please, go on live on Instagram.
It sounded like they said something about white boys, but I couldn't make out exactly what they said.
We don't have arms. We don't have arms. We are students. We are students. On us. What the fuck is happening?
What we done wrong?
We don't have arms.
We done nothing
We don't have arms. We have nothing. We are students. 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 What's up? We are students. We are students.
You don't understand, but you're not black, so you cannot talk.
Dude, they can't shoot us off. Thank you.
And they let him go. So, hey, man. It worked. It worked.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.
Guess what? I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.